I prefer teaching this method. I actually like both methods. Because with this method, you can go up to 9 loops easily, whereas the other method, method 1 or the AFL method, it's only easy to use up to 7 loops on hands. They make the same braids, and they unbraid each other's braids, which is very handy. Okay, I'll show that in a bit. Through, over, grab, shift, tighten, a couple times all the way, through, over, grab, shift, tighten, 1, 2, through, over, grab, shift, tighten, through, over, transferring that loop with a turn, shift. You can't see that you're turning it necessarily, but it's important to know that you are, because later, if we're doing something else, we won't be turning it. Right now you are turning it by taking it from above, shift and shift, tighten, through, over, take the loop, shift, tighten, gently. I say that because I've had students actually get blisters. I spend a lot of time talking about how important the tightening move is, but I don't mean that you do it tightly. You do it evenly and widely. Okay, through, over, grab, shift, tighten. Through, over, take the loop, shift, tighten, through, over, take the loop, shift, tighten, through, over, grab, shift, tighten. Okay, I'm going to attempt to show you the braid. It's kind of, to me, a messy looking one. I used a lot of, well, maybe this is nice, actually. I used a lot of different colors of loops so that they would, here I'm going to, what I do when I want to do something when I'm braiding with my hands is I push the loops back, I sock them back up towards the knuckles so they can't go anywhere, and I could make a fist over them, I suppose, too. And I'm kind of used to doing this, but you could jot a note down, or you could, I guess, pick up the phone if it wasn't too far away. I have this loop bundle looped over something so I can actually lift it off fairly easily. I'm going to lift it off and look at my braid. I don't think the focus, I don't know how close to put it. It's making a square braid. I had a lot of colors. The red is the header cord. You pull the left and right bunches apart. Oops, out of the camera. The braid is starting to form. I have it set on a fixed focus here, so I don't know where that is. Anyway, the braid is now about 1 inch long, even though I've been going really slowly. There's a bit of a messy bit up at the top where right under the knot where the loops were kind of tangly. You don't worry about that. usually it's covered up more than this, but what you do at the end of the braid is if there's a bit of a looseness up here, you just undo this knot. After the braid is done, you undo this overhead knot that you've made, take it out, and just fluff out those strands at the top and retie the knot. Okay, I checked out the braid. I don't think it really shows, but it's turned into a nice square braid of rather a lot of colors. Now I'm going to put it back on the C-clamp. I'm just wrapping on. When I put it on, I put it on the bar at the top because the part with the that you screw up and down can actually end up cutting into the yarn. Okay, so I'm back ready to braid. I looked at my braid and now I picked up the phone or whatever, and now I'm ready to braid again, and I want to see where I am. What am I going to do next? So I look down, and right away I see one hand has only 2 loops, and the other has 3. So that's a clue. I'm probably going to. I know then I'm going to braid with this hand, with the left hand, because it needs to get a loop. Say I looked down and I saw that I had the loops in this arrangement, then I would assume, oh, I haven't done my I haven't done my loop shifting yet. I need to free up the lower finger, so I'll shift there. Now I'm in the right position to braid. I know I have to go get the loop on the hand that has 3 and bring one over to the hand that only has 2. So again, through the lower loop, through the next loop, over the top of the upper and far loop, pulling it off, shift, and tighten. Through, over the top, shift, tighten. I'm going to go a little faster. I don't yet know how to splice videos. I want to get a little bit made on here and then show you how to do a loop in the braid, which a slit in the braid, which is a way to make a loop in it. It's very awkward doing this over the camera, but I'm trying to do it in a natural manner. When you get used to braiding, you'll be able to go through the 2 loops that you go through kind of quickly, because if you have them arranged like that, they sort of form a tunnel. You can just go through them. I used to always, though, for like my first year of braiding, I didn't tunnel through, even though I knew I could. I liked the security of doing a little not jerk, but a little touch upward as I went through each loop to feel that I was getting through it. 1, 2, kind of 1, 2, and pull. And because one of the most common mistakes is to miss a loop. Like if I went through this one and then if I was just tunneling straight through and didn't notice, I might go under the whole yellow loop there by mistake, under it, and go to take the other loop, or over it, over the whole loop by mistake. That actually will create a visible mistake. It won't be fatal to the braid won't fall apart. But so I used to, just to make sure I was getting through each loop, I would kind of just do a little 1, 2, a little bounce upward to feel that I was going through the loop. Shift. It's now been long enough that I do kind of tend to just tunnel straight through. Shift, tighten, Bear with me because I want to show, what I want to show next is how to make a slit in your braid. Basically, this braid, it's square because it's 2 layers that are connected on the sides. It's a double weave. It's a twill double weave. If you're a weaver, you might know what that means. And it's kind of square. It has a top surface and a bottom surface, and then connected on the 2 sides. You can also make this exact same, well, it isn't exactly the same, but with almost the same braiding motions. You can make this into a braid that is a two-layer braid, where the top layer and the bottom layer aren't connected on the sides. And you might wonder, why do that? Well, it makes a slit in the braid, which is like a loop. Well, it is a loop. So if I had done it at the very top there, when I started my braid, if I had started that way, I would have a nice loop in my braid. I could attach a key ring to it, or it could be part of a bracelet closure or whatever. But I'm probably going to end up showing you this more in the middle of the braid, since that's where we'll be. So there'll be an odd slit in the middle of the braid, but maybe that might be useful too, if you wanted to say, I don't know, sort of a buttonhole or something in the middle of your braid. And it is also the first step, making the slit, knowing how to make the top and the bottom layer not connect, is the first step in learning how to make this into a flat braid, a flat wide braid. We're making a square one. The same, basically same braid can be made as a slitted, really two little flat braids, one on top of the other, which we're going to learn next. And it can be made as a wide flat braid. That is when you make the slit on one side and not the other. So it's still two layers, a top layer and a bottom layer, but when we do it flat, it'll be connected on one side, two layers, and they won't be connected on the other side. So then we'll unfold it into a flat braid. We'll open it out and spread it into a flat braid. Okay, let's see. I want to get just a little length on this braid so that when I show you the slit, it'll be kind of close enough to the camera to see it. And braiding should not, braiding is fun. Finger loop braiding is it feels good. It's fun to do. It's not a speed trip. I mean, it might look like I'm going fast. I don't feel like I'm going fast. It's about being, what's the word? Smooth. So you want it to feel, I don't know, liquid and smooth and comfortable. You don't want to rush, or you'll drop loops and be frenetic, and which I am a little bit here doing the video. But let's see. I'm trying to look in the camera and see how long. Maybe I'll learn how to edit and cut some of this out. Okay, I have been showing you. Let's get going here. I have been showing you a square braid, and I've been showing that you must take the upper shank of the loop when you grab the loop and pull it through, which turns it over. There's another way to do that, actually. You could even take that loop by taking the bottom shank from below. That's often what people do when they braid a-fell, the other way of doing this type of braid. You could do it this way too. You wouldn't change part way through the braid. You would have started that way. With this type of braiding, though, it usually is easier to take the loop from the top. Either way turns the loop over, though. I've been turning this loop as I take it, because I've been grabbing onto the loop from above it, which causes, you can see that's the upper shank, and as I grab onto it, it becomes the lower shank. It turns over. In order to split this braid, to make it start braiding as two layers, an upper and a lower flat layer of two little flat braids on top of each other, I will now go through the last loop that I'm going to take. I won't go over it and grab the top. I'll go through it. And then I grab in the same manner going down. It wouldn't actually matter if I took the top or the bottom. Either way, doing it this way, the loop won't turn over. The top shank will still be on top. I want it to be the same motion that I've been doing, though, to, not to be torquing my wrist in different ways. So I turn downward slightly, and I pull